Hi, Libra. All right. I heard the Serenity Prayer. I know it's not the technical version. I'll have to look up what Mark Passio says because I forget and everything's turned around, but let's say it real quick. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Okay. Now, I have 4 cards on the board. You, as in Aquarius, you came after Aquarius, could be important. They're protecting you, I heard, in a way. You have the Spider. Okay, I'd like to read you this for whatever reason. Here we go. The Spider is the creator of prosperity through life's work. The creator of prosperity through life's work. It also represents Dharma, okay, which you actually, in a way, kind of are involved with that, right? The scales. It says the spider is an ingenious creator. Its greatest gift is weaving the thread of Dharma into a vast, intricate web that supports the spider and those around it, both financially and spiritually. It is hard work, but the spider neither tires nor becomes impatient. This card reminds us creativity is everywhere. Be process-oriented rather than results-oriented. You hear that? Let me say it again. Be process-oriented rather than results-oriented, and soon your work becomes like the weaving of a magical, priceless tapestry. Abundance follows. Okay? If you're not feeling in this sort of appreciative, enthusiastic, prosperous, abundant sort of mentality, some playful creativity would really do you some good. Okay? Something that's just for fun. Doodle. Bake a cake. 3-tier cake. Whatever. You know? It's also interesting because Athena, which actually also represents Libra, as far as I recall, has to do with weaving also, right? So, let's see here. I see for you to have that abundance also, and if you're feeling kind of tired, you're the kind of person that gives a lot to people who you think need it. Some actually do, some don't, right? So you have to make sure that you have good, you have to care for yourself, right? Because whatever's going on here is something that is very enlightening, okay? For a lot of you, your spiritual practice and what you've been tapping into is expanding, but it's also making you a lot more sensitive, okay, than you already are, which is a lot, right? Even I heard the strength that you've been gaining and the confidence you've been gaining in yourself it's been testing you, right? Whether you're in a relationship or not, doesn't matter. It's your own independence in situations. It's your own, again, confidence in your ability to, I heard, financially and spiritually be sound, right? Technically in Vedic, you have Jupiter in your 2nd house now, which is you solidifying your own self-value and what it is that you think that you're worth, right? What it is that you want to possess in this life and how that is determined by what you desire, right? You're learning great deals about, specifically for a lot of you, your relationships, right? You rule relationships. So what that's all about, although I know we've been sort of repeating, and I don't mean to be redundant in the messages, but with everything in retrograde, there's no way to deny the lessons that we need to learn, so that when things start to move forward, then other situations will move forward more swimmingly, right? We're not going against the current, we're going with the river, because we are the river, right? Learning who you are again in a relationship, learning how you work one-on-one with people, and depending on, I heard how much they care about themselves and you care about yourself, independently speaking, makes up what the togetherness is, right? If you don't pay attention to yourself and the energy that you're giving out to the world, you don't replenish it, right? You're just tapping more into this like spiritual world up here, invisible world. Yes, that's good, but we live down here on earth, right? We live down here on earth, so we must learn how to be grounded, right? Where you move too fast with things. I heard once bitten, twice shy, right? For a lot of you, you're also learning to be a bit more graceful with your horns, right? Or even letting people know that you have horns. Because you're not actually an animal or a person in the zodiac, right? You're an inanimate object. You don't have any feelings, right? You're just metal. But that's not the case at all. You're a human, right? And you are an animal too. Oh, it tastes good. There's something about what's palpable, right? What's pleasing to you, what is not. You know, maybe for some of you, you never thought you could do something on your own in some kind of way. You never really felt independent in something. You always felt dependent on someone else or something else, right? In your external world to fulfill you in a kind of way. And then I see, for whatever reason, something really magical happened that was sort of unbelievable in a kind of way, or something is happening in a way that's sort of unbelievable. It's like you took two big leaps, right? Instead of just like taking these baby steps, you took these big leaps in a certain part of your life. There was these big whoof, swoop, and you still landed fine, right? You still landed on, it's like, you know, you landed fine. But when you landed, you were like in this totally different world, and you became like a different animal in a way. And you're learning more about whatever this other animal is. And I keep seeing these these animals that have horns. So maybe you ought to think about it. Like what animal that has a kind of horn do you visualize yourself as? Right? And what's their behavior? What's their attitude about it? What can you learn from that animal? Right? And I heard, are you a male or a female? Right? Because that makes a difference too. Some females have horns, some animals, sometimes it's only the male, but they have different roles, right? What they do in that group. I really do see you at this, the next step is for you to be really, something about listening, You have to be a very good listener, a very good student, okay? It's like whatever magical little information that you've been studying and that you've been, the time that you've been taking by yourself to whatever it is you're researching about and like digging into and tapping into, you're okay, so you got that information. Next step, Leo had a bit of this too, like applying the lesson. But part of what your lesson is in applying is listening. Listening. Maybe for a lot of you, listening more to your body, right? Not just listening to your head, but listening in to everything around, being more in tune with all the parts around you, and then picking up on that. What are you learning from what's around you? Okay? And I see that you're going to be so open to it. It's like you're going to be ingesting, learning, gathering. You're just like taking in all this stuff. You have to make sure that you are also in the same moment, right? Taking in, releasing. You have to balance it out. Or there will be a clear indication with your interpersonal relationships that become too tangled, right? When things start to get tangled, when the communication's a little bit off, this is a clear indication that you are not taking good care of yourself in some sort of way. You're either, again, taking in too much or giving too much, right? Maybe you're dehydrated, right? Basic stuff. I talked about this with Aries a lot, but it's like, I do actually see for a lot of you, what you put in your body liquid-wise is important, right? Maybe also for some of you, like blessing your water would be really good, especially if you live in the city, but anywhere, it'll change. It's the cymatics of it, right? It'll change a frequency that's a little bit off to something that is more geometrical, more geometrically sound, right? Because the only reason things become, I heard, infrequent is because something isn't receiving enough of what it needs, right? And I know this message is a little bit cryptic, and most of my readings are. And it could be a little bit confusing, but I know in a way that you know inside of yourself what I'm saying, right? Like emotionally, it's being picked up on. So again, maybe there's something, what part of what you're learning and what this magical process is of expansion has something to do with a subconscious sort of place, right? And again, I see applying that into the physical world somehow, some way, like you're being able to tap into it. Because you can become aware of what is above and below, right? That's a possibility. Yes, that is absolutely a possibility, right? To understand those kinds of things. But it may take a little bit of time for it to all sink in. Right? It may take a little bit of time to be able to apply something. And so I see that you should go slowly. Again, see yourself as much as you can as the student. Take good notes, right? Do the homework. Put in the time, especially, and I've said this to you before, like you got a family, you have kids, you got husband, wife, whatever, job, all, of course, all this stuff, right? Life, Capricorn stuff. Well, then you don't feel like you have time because you get all these things. Well, then wake up early. Spend a little bit of time, after everyone's gone to bed and any time that you have off. Oh, I tell Scorpio this all the time. Interesting, but still, they come after you, right? You're supposed to make a good example. of what it means to balance yourself, right? So do that. Okay, don't get caught up in your own web. Okay. When you start to get stressed out, you got to make sure, you got to ask yourself, like, what is it that I need? You know, don't look at the thing externally that's stressing you out. Try to go reflect it back again and see, ask yourself, be the student, be like, okay, why did I, and why is this happening? Why did that just cause that feeling? Right? And how can I move through this? Okay. I love you so much. Thanks for being here, if you're still here. Very patient of you. Thanks for all your support, too. I wouldn't be here without you. So, thanks for being here and wanting to better yourself and learn and grow and expand and take those lessons and apply them into the world so that we can do the great work that we are supposed to be here to do. Right? Good job. Love you. Peace.